Today's Mass readings and Gospel reflection. September 16, 2021. Thursday. Memorial of Saints Cornelius, Pope, and Saint Cyprian, Bishop, Martyrs. The Thursday of the 24th week in Ordinary Time. We bless your name, O Lord, for sending your own incarnate Son to become part of a family, so that, as he lived its life, he would experience its worries and its joys. We ask you, Lord, to protect and watch over this family, so that in the strength of your grace its members may enjoy prosperity, possess the priceless gift of your peace, and, as the Church alive in the home, bear witness in this world to your glory. We ask this through Christ our Lord. Amen. Today the Church commemorates two friends in the service of Christ and his Church. Cornelius, a Roman, was the 21st Pope during the reign of the Emperor Gallus and Volusian. He had to oppose Novatian, the first anti-pope, who believed that apostates who repented could not be forgiven. Helped by Saint Cyprian, Cornelius confirmed his papal authority. He was beheaded in exile at Civitavecchia, Italy in year 253 AD. Saint Cyprian and Cornelius are mentioned in the Roman Canon or the First Eucharistic Prayer of the Mass. Pope Cornelius lived from 251 to 253 AD, was the successor to Pope Fabian. During his reign a controversy arose concerning the manner of reinstating those who had fallen from the faith under the duress of persecution. The Novatians accused the Pope of too great indulgence and separated themselves from the Church. With the help of Saint Lucina, Cornelius transferred the remains of the princes of the apostles to places of greater honor. On account of his successful preaching the pagans banished him to Santumcellae, where he died. Saint Cyprian sent him a letter of condolence. At the time of Pope Cornelius there were at Rome 46 priests, 7 deacons, 7 subdeacons, 42 acolytes, 52 clerics and more than 500 widows, who were supported by the Church. Thascius Caecilius Cyprianus, illustrious as a pagan rhetorician in Carthage, embraced the true faith in the year 246 and was soon thereafter consecrated priest and bishop of that city in the year 248. He was an energetic shepherd of souls and a prolific writer. He defended the unity of the Church against schismatic movements in Africa and Italy, and greatly influenced the shaping of Church discipline relative to reinstating Christians who had apostatized. He fled during the Dacian persecution but guided the Church by means of letters. During the Valerian persecution in the year 258 he was beheaded. He suffered martyrdom in the presence of his flock, after giving the executioner 25 pieces of gold. Saint Jerome says of him, "It is superfluous to speak of his greatness, for his works are more luminous than the sun." Cyprian ranks as an important Church father, one whose writings are universally respected and often read in the divine office. His principal works are on the unity of the Church, on apostates, a collection of letters, the Lord's Prayer, on the value of patience. First reading. A reading from the first letter to Timothy. 1 Timothy chapter 4 verse 12 to 16. Beloved, let no one have contempt for your youth, but set an example for those who believe, in speech, conduct, love, faith, and purity. Until I arrive, attend to the reading, exhortation, and teaching. Do not neglect the gift you have, which was conferred on you through the prophetic word with the imposition of hands by the presbyterate. Be diligent in these matters, be absorbed in them, so that your progress may be evident to everyone. Attend to yourself and to your teaching. Persevere in both tasks, for by doing so you will save both yourself and those who listen to you. The word of the Lord. Responsorial Psalm. Psalms chapter 111 verse 7 to 8, 9 and 10. Let our response be, how great are the works of the Lord! The works of his hands are faithful and just. Sure are all his precepts. Reliable forever and ever. Wrought in truth and equity. Response: how great are the works of the Lord! He has sent deliverance to his people. He has ratified his covenant forever. Holy and awesome is his name. Response: how great are the works of the Lord! The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom. Prudent are all who live by it. His praise endures forever. Response: how great are the works of the Lord! Alleluia. Matthew chapter 11 verse 28. Alleluia, alleluia. Come to me, all you who labor and are burdened, and I will give you rest, says the Lord. Alleluia, alleluia. Gospel reading. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Luke chapter 7 verse 36 to 50. A certain Pharisee invited Jesus to dine with him. And he entered the Pharisee's house and reclined at table. Now there was a sinful woman in the city who learned that he was at table in the house of the Pharisee. Bringing an alabaster flask of ointment, she stood behind him at his feet weeping and began to bathe his feet with her tears. Then she wiped them with her hair, kissed them, and anointed them with the ointment. When the Pharisee who had invited him saw this, he said to himself, "If this man were a prophet, he would know who and what sort of woman this is who is touching him, that she is a sinner." Jesus said to him in reply, "Simon, I have something to say to you." "Tell me, teacher," he said. Two people were in debt to a certain creditor. One owed 500 days' wages and the other owed 50. Since they were unable to repay the debt, he forgave it for both. Which of them will love him more? Simon said in reply, "The one, I suppose, whose larger debt was forgiven." He said to him, "You have judged rightly." Then he turned to the woman and said to Simon, "Do you see this woman? When I entered your house, you did not give me water for my feet, but she has bathed them with her tears and wiped them with her hair. You did not give me a kiss, but she has not ceased kissing my feet since the time I entered. You did not anoint my head with oil, but she anointed my feet with ointment. So I tell you, her many sins have been forgiven. Hence, she has shown great love. But the one to whom little is forgiven, loves little." He said to her, "Your sins are forgiven." The others at table said to themselves, "Who is this who even forgives sins?" But he said to the woman, "Your faith has saved you. Go in peace." The word of the Lord. Before we proceed with the video, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel. Also, please hit the notification bell, so you won't miss out when we release new videos. Feel free to share your comments, suggestions, and reflections at the comments section down below. Thank you and God bless. Now, let's proceed with the video. The reflection on today's Gospel. Today's Gospel presents the episode of the woman with the perfume who was accepted by Jesus during a feast in house of Simon the Pharisee. One of the aspects of the novelty of the good news of Jesus is the surprising attitude of Jesus toward women. At the time of the New Testament, women lived marginalized. In the synagogue they could not participate in the public life and they could not be witnesses. Many women, though, resisted this exclusion. From the time of Ezra, the marginalization of women had been increasing on the part of the religious authority, and the resistance of women against their exclusion also increased, as we can see in the stories of Judith, Esther, Ruth, Naomi, Suzanne, and the Sulamite and others. This resistance found echo and acceptance in Jesus. In the episode of the woman with the perfume there is inconformity which springs up in the resistance of the women in the life of every day and the acceptance of Jesus. Three completely different persons meet with one another. Jesus, Simon, the Pharisee, a practicing Jew, and the woman, whom they said that she was a sinner. Jesus is in the house of Simon, who has invited him to dinner with him. The woman enters, and she places herself at the feet of Jesus, and begins to cry, bathing Jesus' feet with her tears, and dries them with her loose hair. She kisses his feet and anoints them with perfume. To get the hair loose in public was a gesture of independence. Jesus does not draw back, nor does he send the woman away. Rather, he accepts her gesture. Jesus was accepting a person who, according to the custom of the time, could not be accepted because she was a sinner. The Pharisee, observing everything, criticizes Jesus and condemns the woman. If this man were a prophet, he would know who this woman is and what sort of person it is who is touching him and what a bad name she has. Jesus uses a parable to respond to the provocation of the Pharisee. The parable of the two debtors. One owed 500 denarii, the other 50. Neither one was able to pay. Both of them were forgiven. Which of them will love their master more? Response of the Pharisee: the one who was let off more, I suppose. The parable presupposes that both, the Pharisee and the woman, had received some favor from Jesus. By the attitude that both take before Jesus, they indicate how much they appreciate the favor received. The Pharisee shows his love, his gratitude, by inviting Jesus to eat with him. The woman shows her love, her gratitude, by her tears, the kisses and the perfume. The message of Jesus for the Pharisee. After having received the response of the Pharisee, Jesus applies the parable. Even if he was in the house of the Pharisee, invited by him, Jesus does not lose the freedom to speak and to act. He defends the woman against the criticism of the practicing Jew. The message of Jesus for the Pharisees of all times is this one: the one who is forgiven little, loves little. A Pharisee thinks that he is not a sinner because he observes the law in everything. The personal assurance that I, a Pharisee, create for myself many times, in the observance of the law of God and of the Church, prevents me from experiencing the gratuity of the love of God. What is important is not the observance of the law in itself, but the love with which I observe the law. And using the symbols of the love of the woman, Jesus responds to the Pharisee who considered himself to be in peace with God. You poured no water over my feet. You gave me no kiss. You did not anoint my head with perfumed oil. Simon, in spite of the banquet that you have offered me, you have loved very little. The word of Jesus to the woman. Jesus declares that the woman is forgiven and then adds, your faith has saved you, go in peace. Here we have the novelty of the attitude of Jesus. He does not condemn but he accepts. It is faith which helps the woman to encounter herself and to encounter God. In the relationship with Jesus, a new force springs up in her and makes her be born again. Where, when, and how are women despised or rejected by the Pharisee of today? The woman certainly would not have done what she did if she was not absolutely certain that Jesus would accept her. Do the marginalized and migrant persons have the same certainty today? For Yahweh is good. His faithful love is everlasting. His constancy from age to age.